Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:30, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Ethnic Studies 4200, Section 1. So if you are signed up for Ethnic Studies 4200, Section 1, you are in the correct section. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the share screen so we can get started with the course introduction. And today, this course does meet once a week, and we're scheduled to meet 4:30 to 7:10. It's going to be a little tricky because you all are going to have the great privilege of having one of the candidates who's applying for one of our tenure track ethnic studies faculty positions, who's going to be giving their teaching demonstration in our class next week. So we have what's called the final interviews, the final campus visits. And I do want to give you that heads up, which means that MT Vallarta is the name of the candidate. They're going to be conducting their class teaching demonstration from 4:30 to 5:30. And because of I'm part of the search committee, I do a debrief with the candidates from 6 to 7 p.m. So that means that we will only be meeting until 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And so today, I do anticipate that we may not be in all the way through 7:10 p.m. It will be pretty close. So we're going to start out with introductions. And I know that you had the opportunity, the choice, it was an option to watch introductory video that I shared last week. It was not required. So before we get into a deeper introduction in terms of more in depth of me, and then you all are going to have an opportunity to spend some time together and do an icebreaker and potentially earn extra credits, as well as get to know each other a little better. I wanted to make sure that I go over the first assignment. So we're not going to be getting into the course readings or the course, what I call the weekly assignments this week. What you're going to do first is called a Meet Your Peers activity that is part of creating a learning community together. And whether we're talking face-to-face, whether we're talking remote, in order to build community, it does mean working together. It does mean connection. It does mean getting to know each other better. So I have shared the link to this Google Doc. It's a Google Doc. It's a slideshow that we're going to be using every week when we meet. And I already have it pulled up on my computer. We'll get to Top Hat a little bit later. The course introduction PowerPoint presentation is also on our Top Hat course kind of a page. And so as you can see here, here is the instructions. And when you access the link directly, you will actually be able to go ahead and get into the document more easily. That link is also posted on our Blackboard course shell in the announcement section, and we'll be going to that in a minute. So as you can see from the instructions, it's very basic. You're going to be creating a slide with your name. You have the option of adding a picture of yourself, a picture of hobbies, of pets. I mean, students have gotten really creative with this. I see that some of you have already gotten started, which is great. If you do not want to insert a picture, a photo of yourself, then you can create kind of an avatar by accessing this Bitmoji link. And you're going to just be giving some background information, sharing what you hope to learn, hope to get out of the course this semester, and then a fun fact. And then the second part of that is the whole intention of this is building community online. So then it means engaging and interacting with one another in a remote context when we're, right, so not meeting. So that means you're going to go through the slides and choose at least the slides of at least 2 peers to respond to. And you have 2 options for doing that. So I'm going to go, this is a sample slide. I've actually got an image here of when I was facilitating a presentation on diversity with a group of a large group of high school students who were participating in a leadership program called Be a Leader in Phoenix in Arizona. And in particular with this course, I do hope that my hope for the course is that you gain more of a understand the historical foundations of the of race, class, and gender in the US. And that list will go on and on. Sexual identities, nationality, religion, notion of able-bodiedness and able-mindedness. And we'll go over this more in depth next week. Awesome. So as you can see, you're already doing it. You can include your comments to your peers in the notes, like the speaker notes box, or if you want to do a comment on the side where your name automatically pops up, you just go to insert, comment, and then you can add a comment there. So I'm not sure, I don't want to. So Vanessa, I hope, oh, let me go back up here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, thank you, Ashley. I got the 2 different shots, the one with the glasses on the head. And what I will be doing, and we can see as we go on, Marwa has already created her slide, and we've got Ashley has responded, and then we have Vanessa as well. So what we will do, oh wow, you all are pretty much completed. This is great. And so before, we usually log on about, oh, this is, oh, what a cute, okay. Looks like someone's studying to become a teacher. I love the avatar. So before, and I usually log on earlier than 5 minutes beforehand, but when I log on, usually 10 to 15 minutes beforehand, I will be playing this Google slide document as a slideshow. And it's a way, because again, I understand that everyone is not going to turn on the video. So it's a way for us to see one another, to associate names with faces, and to learn a little bit more about one another's background. And what I like to do is also have music as a backdrop. So what I also have included on this PowerPoint slide is a link to a class playlist. This is optional. This is not a part of the assignment. So if you would like to contribute to the class playlist, you're going to go here. And I'll get to Blackboard in a minute. When I sent out the individual emails, I'm sending them from our announcements page on our Blackboard course shell. So you can find the assignment if you go to the announcements page or section of our Blackboard course shell. I'm also going to probably go ahead. You can also, and I'll show you how you can access it in Top Hat. I send everything from, in terms of announcements and communication, from Blackboard. I will be transitioning to Canvas over the summer. I don't like Canvas's gradebook. I had a hard time trying to figure it out over the break. So I'm like, I'm not going to be teaching 4 classes and having issues with grades not being calculated correctly. I will also create an assignments, a section or folder where, but like, this is a really easy, just a link. The instructions are actually in the Google slide document itself. So yeah, that you can find the link on the announcement section of our Blackboard course shell, and I'll show you where that's located right now. That's an important question. So I'm going to go into student preview. This is what you will see when you go to our course shell. You go to the announcement section, and here you can see the link and the assignment, and you actually click directly on the box, and it'll take you directly to the Meet Your Peers activity. Does anyone else have any questions about the Meet Your Peers activity and about the optional? Again, you can choose to add favorite artists and songs. And it's challenging, I know, to have it kind of PG. So we're going to make sure that it's PG. And so what I'll be doing is I will be creating the playlist once you add your suggestions. And this is what it will look like. This is a playlist from the same class from the spring of a year ago. And as you can see, students added their favorite artists. I learned a lot about BTS, learned a lot about K-pop, more than I would have learned if it, so the artists and the song selections do not have to be directly connected to the course content. So I want to make that very clear. This is to have music and to have the slideshow going as you're logging in. This is my version of kind of like, I know some faculty have personal waiting rooms. What I do is I have the slideshow and I have the music before we get started. So I'm going to go to the chat and see. So as you can see on the slideshow itself, the instructions are, on our course, our Blackboard course shell. Let me see, got to get back to it. The assignment is not due until next Tuesday by 4 p.m. And you will see that when you look at the email that I sent out just now. And what I do is I post the announcement, and that I just sent this email out to you about an hour ago. And so the assignment is due on the 9th. And I will edit this. Announcement so that it actually shows that it's due on the 9th by 4 p.m. because I want to actually start playing the slideshow next Tuesday. And I believe, so I will update this. So when you go to our Blackboard course show, you will see that. And also it's on the PowerPoint presentation as well. Again, I want to be really clear. The first link is to the Meet Your Peers activity. The playlist is optional. That's not a part of the assignment. So does anyone have, and that's the only assignment for next week. We will get into, it's going to be quick. I'm going to do a quick overview of the first unit, the first readings, and all of this will be posted in Blackboard by next week before we meet, because then you'll have from Tuesday until February the 16th. You're always going to have a week to complete, a minimum of a week to complete assignments. Does anyone have any questions about this first assignment before we move on? And you can unmute yourself, or you can enter your question in the chat. Okay. Thank you, Ashley, for letting me know. I didn't realize that the link, this is what's tricky about Top Hat. If I'm not, it's a teaching engagement platform, and you insert, there's all of these different ways where you can insert videos, and you can embed videos and all types of links, but just a straight, and you can actually do it in between the different slides. So it's not embedded in the PowerPoint. So I'll make sure that I repost the assignment after we meet today, specifically with the link and with the deadline of 4 p.m. by next Tuesday. So thank you for sharing that with me. So what we're going to do now is move on. Building community online. You know, we take this for granted in face-to-face. We know that it's basic to show up and be present with whatever it is that we're doing. And so what that looks like for our course is to attend our synchronous class meetings at 4:30. I have one link for us to meet every every week. The only reason I would change the Zoom link for our class is if there's an incidence of Zoom bombing. I know that having the same Zoom link for every single class every week means that, you know, somehow somebody else could be able to get access to it. That's the only reason I would change the link. We do a lot of interactive small group discussions and activities in the class, which we're going to start out with today, actually. I have 3 scheduled. I'm gonna, I want to pace us, see how it goes. I just know that next week it's going to be a shortened, it's going to be a shortened class. And so I don't want to take away, I don't want to leave too much, right, for next week. And the great thing about Top Hat, which we'll get to after we get through the introductions, is that it takes attendance automatically, which is awesome. It generates an attendance code, a 4-digit attendance code every week. You enter the code, boom. So I do, and when you're in the breakout groups, I'm not taking attendance today, I'm not taking participation today, but you'll see when you're engaging in the breakout discussions and activities, I just, from the screen, I write down the group numbers, write down the group names, and that is how the 10 participation points are allocated. So, and again, we're not going to start attendance. I'm not going to do attendance until next week. Display names. So in order for me to make sure that I am assigning credits every week for the participation activities, it's important that you have, as you already have, your first and last name, or your first name and the first letter of your last name on the display screen as your name appears on the class roster, right? As it appears in university records. Now, for me, my name appears in university records as Mary Rove. That's not my preferred name. So I'm going to change my preferred name. The way you do that is you go next to your little, call it a Hollywood square or Brady Bunch square, go to the 3 dots, choose rename. And what I'm going to do is just change this to my preferred name, which is Dr. Mary, and still make sure I have my name as it appears in university records in parentheses. You also have the option of including your preferred pronouns. Again, it's totally optional. The main thing is really addressing everyone by the name that is your name that you go by. And if that, or nicknames, right? And if that doesn't match the name on the rosters, then that's okay. So what you all have the opportunity to watch a video, an introductory video. It was totally optional. And I'm going to build on what I was sharing with you about my backgrounds from that introductory video. So my preferred address is Dr. Mary. You can also call me professor, but I do prefer Dr. Mary. I actually started teaching in 1993, and I started teaching 7th grade world geography. And then I actually, as you can see in this picture, I looped up with my students when the 7th graders were promoted to 8th grade. I then looped up with them and I taught 8th grade American history. And I taught it in a very holistic and in a very comprehensive way, because my major at Georgetown was international relations with an emphasis in non-Western history. And so it was a great match. My 2 areas of focus for undergrad were the continent of Africa and the entire region of Latin America. And so what this meant, and I was bringing in that critical content that is ethnic studies content. Like that is inherently ethnic studies in the ways that I taught it. But again, very vast regions. My life completely changed after I taught my first 2 years in Washington, DC, in part because it was amazing. It was baptism by fire because it's 7th graders. And developmentally, they're very hormonal. Okay, I'll put it like that. So it's either you engage them or it's gonna be chaos. And so it's very interesting because the ways that I've learned how to co-create learning communities with students, how to create entire classroom climates that we're gonna be doing, how to be very student-centered in my approach to teaching and advising and supporting, is also ethnic studies. It's ethnic studies pedagogy, right? It's the ethnic studies approach as well, because ethnic studies, as we'll get into in a bit, is the only academic discipline that was created by students as a result of the longest student strike in the history of the United States. And so in addition, I was really, really impacted because my students came from all over the world. So in this image, you can see Virginia de la Cruz, who's from Panama, primarily from Central America. Here is Alma, who's still a Facebook friend. They found me years later because, you know, Facebook wasn't a thing in 1994. Alma's from El Salvador. Marlon's from El Salvador. Khadijah, oh, here's Marlon. Khadijah is African-American and she's Muslim. I had students from throughout the Caribbean. We had students from the continent of Africa. We also had a large number of students from Vietnam. So even though I was trained as, at the time, it was called an English as a second language teacher. I mean, and I'm bilingual. First language is English and my second language is Spanish. It was really a stretch. I mean, in order to build community with my students and their families, the approach was very, very humbling, you know, very down to earth. And it's really, and then I was integrating all of the students' backgrounds and cultures into the contents, as well as into instructional strategies. I fell in love with it so much that I am an interdisciplinary ethnic studies scholar, which means that in addition to my background in ethnic studies, I actually completed a master's and a PhD in applied anthropology of education because of my experiences in the classroom and looking at what was happening politically and economically and how that was in shaping education policy and funding, which we can see how politicized education has become. So I also ended up training teachers. So I got into teacher coaching and I've trained more than 200 K through 12 teachers. And because I started out in the 20th century, I knew in order to continue to be effective, that I needed to go back into the classroom and teach in the 21st century if I really wanted to be able to support teachers. And so I went back into the classroom in 2010 after I completed my doctorate at Temple University. And this is a little town outside of Memphis, Tennessee, called Blytheville, Arkansas. And so I've had the experience in rural areas and also in urban areas like Washington, DC and Philadelphia. And here's where I became an administrator. So I was a director of instruction where I was supporting all of the teachers at the K through 4 school versus having my own class. So that's a little bit about my background. And then these are some of my hobbies. And you're going to get a chance to really learn more about one another in a minute. I grew up in the Deep South. So I grew up in Arkansas in a small city that's smaller than Turlock, about the same size, but smaller, very agriculturally based. And I was very close to Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi. And family has always been at the forefront. My family is large on my father's side. So I grew up with just all kinds of extended multi-generational cousins and aunts and grandparents on both sides. And here is the Christmas of 2019 in Memphis, where my oldest sibling, Phoebe, was elected as the first woman and the first Black person as an Episcopalian bishop of the Diocese of West Tennessee. Sounds really similar to Catholicism. Episcopalianism is actually the stepchild of the Catholic Church. That's a whole nother historical conversation based in with Henry VIII and England. We're not going to get into that. And this is my Aunt Mary, who I'm named after, who's my godmother. So I would never change my name because, right, it's three for. This is my youngest brother, Andrew. Willie is a year and a half younger than me. And then this is my, what I call my sister in love, not my sister-in-law, Angela. This is a great nephew, Eli, who I got to visit also in Tennessee that Christmas. And some of my other hobbies include music. I absolutely love music. So I love old school 90s R&B, house music. I also love the kind of whole spectrum of music from the Caribbean and Latin America. So before COVID, I would get my dance fix by going to the gym and doing Zumba classes. I also love travel, and I love research, and I love learning about other cultures and integrating that right into all aspects of my life, including my teaching and my research and my writing. And so this is an image of Bahia, Salvador de Bahia in Northeast Brazil, which is called Little Africa. The largest number of people of African descent outside of the continent of Africa are in Brazil. And they are in this particular region of Brazil. And that's stemming back to a very intensive slave trade, which you all in Brazil, which you all, and with Portugal. And you all will learn about that this semester. And so this is an image of a really historic region, a really historic part of the city. So what I'm going to do now is you all are now going to have the opportunity to get to know each other a little better. And one of the groups is going to earn 5 points, extra credit points as well. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to make the room small enough. So in the breakout rooms, you're going to take 20 minutes to introduce yourselves and to identify as many similarities as you share as a whole group, right? So not two people have this in common, three people have that in common. It's the similarities that all of you share in common. The group that identifies the greatest number of similarities that you share will earn 5 extra credit points for each member. So I really encourage you to have one person who's at least jotting down the total number of similarities that you identify about each other. And then have a different person, and it could be more than one person per group, share out a few of those similarities when we come back together, because it's really fun. It's really interesting. And it's laying the foundation. You know, the thing about the way that I teach is learning is definitely hard work. And it also is very engaging, and it can also be very fun. It can be very illuminating. And so I know that if I'm not having fun, my students are not going to be having fun. So, and again, this is laying the foundation for us to create this learning community together. Does anyone have any questions before I break you out into the breakout rooms? And you can enter them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Okay, so it is, it's 4:57. We'll go ahead and reconvene at about 5:20 once you have, after you're done with the icebreaker. Okay, I will see you in a little bit. Amanda.
Hi, I heard from the student. Were you able to assign the captioner that was here as the captioner?
Yes, I assigned the student to the room where the captioner is. So now I know who it is. So I'll make sure to do that every
Okay, but did you assign them as captioner? Because she can't see the captions. So she had just let me know. So I popped in.
Oh, I haven't. Okay, so no.
Okay, so this is what I had wanted to show you, but we just weren't able to meet up. I can't do it. I can tell you how to do it is what I can do.
Okay. That yes,
Um,
yes.
So down at the bottom where you have like participants and share screen and all that, there should be a CC button, closed caption.
Oh, I wonder if it's being affected because okay.
Is it under more?
Let me see.
Usually the host, which is you have to have it turned on, but most people don't turn it off, so it's defaulted to on.
Right. Do you think that I have to do it when they're actually go to the breakout room now?
You still should be able to, but I don't know. I don't usually see it from the host end.
Right.
But there's a CC button. So is it under more?
It's not under more. Let me see.
Then it might be in your settings.
Let me
When you
go more.
started.
Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. I was in the wrong more.
Oh, good. Okay. Do you happen to see it?
Awesome. I do, and it says
Okay.
assign someone to type.
Okay, you can do it. You're not going to do me this time, but that's what I was going to show you. So yeah, so assign someone a type. It'll bring up the participant list.
Okay.
And what you do is you find that person's name. They should have captioner in their name.
I'm going to share my screen just so you can see what I'm seeing because, oh, that's okay. More. And
I'm seeing your slideshow. Unfortunately, it's not showing me.
Okay, let me
see. Okay, I'm seeing you
yes.
change it.
Can you see where the breakout room?
No, it's not showing me that, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So let me I'll stop share. I'll go to more. I'm going to close caption.
Correct.
And
then
I
you want to assign someone to type. There's usually like two choices. And one is to assign somebody.
It's weird because when I click on assign a participant, it disappears.
I wonder if it does have anything to do with the breakout rooms.
I think it may. Let me go. Okay. I'm just going to go into the breakout room really quickly and see.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to assign someone a type. It'll bring up a participant list. You'll find that person, you hover over their name and you click the blue more button next to their name. And then there's a drop down menu to assign to type. Like you can look at it on me right now. You should be able to do it to me, but you're not going to do it all the way, but you can assign someone a type, CC, assign someone a type, and then it should bring up my name because I'm in the room with you.
Right. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, and then if you go to my name, then you click the blue more button and it will bring a drop down menu that says
assign to type closed caption. Yep.
Okay, so now you just did it to me. So I'm going to get out of here so you can do it to the other person that's assigned.
Okay.
And make sure you do that. And then that will help the student to be able to actually view the closed captions.
Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, I'll pop in if there's any other questions that I hear from the student. But yeah, if you go do that, then that should make it better. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a good class. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I apologize for that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to more.
What's going on?
I'm going to assign you to be able to type closed caption. So do you see where I just assigned that?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been typing in a Google Doc. I see.
Oh, okay. So now I'll be and so hopefully you will have that designation of the class, whether we're in whole class or small group.
Okay. So right now, am I going to go back to the group?
Yes, I'm gonna have you join group 7. So I'm gonna have to move you to another one really fast, and then don't join group 1. And what I'm gonna do is reassign you to group 7. Okay. waiting for a few students to rejoin us. Well, a few groups. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Also, and this is a funny feature of Top Hat. So Ashley, thank you for that input, because what I did was I went to Top Hat to see what was going on with the link to the Meet Your Peers assignments in it. And basically, whenever since I'm in Top Hat in real time, you cannot access it when I'm actually presenting from it or have it open in real time. And so what I will do is reassign it as soon as we are done with our time together today. And again, the link is also accessible on our Blackboard course shell. So we're going to start out, and this is how I do with breakout rooms. I do not go in sequential order every single time. I mix it up. So I know that we have 7 different groups who got to engage in the icebreaker, and I have the names, right, of everyone in each group. And so what I'm going to do is I'll let you know which group I'm going to be calling on for the designated spokesperson to let us know how many total similarities did you all identify, and then to have one or more folks from the group just share out a few of those. And this really, again, this is, it's fun. It's kind of like a version of speed dating without the dating, right? But, and it's really, I don't mean for it to be competitive, and it's not about, wow, it's like you did so great, even though I know, the extra credit is an incentive. But anyway, depending on, how many similarities. So we're going to start out with group 6, which is Lupe. And I want to make sure, Gurdeep, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, Gurdeep.
Gurdeep. Okay, awesome. Natalie, and is it Selena or Selena?
It's Selena.
Okay, Selena. So yeah, anyone from your group can share out how many total similarities did you identify, and then anyone can jump in and just give us a few examples.
So we had a total of 8 similarities.
Okay. And like, what were like 1 or 2 of those similarities?
Well, we realized that we've all had thoughts about dropping out, and our favorite color is red.
Oh, well then probably like the Stan State. I mean, it's not exactly red, but it's kind of a deep, well, it is kind of red. I use red for Stan State. Thank you for sharing, Lupe. And I will say that I'm not surprised. I really appreciate you all really got real, right, in the conversation. It's last semester was very rough, right? It's been rough for a lot of different reasons. We are in unprecedented historic times for our generation. The last time there was a global pandemic that affected the entire world to this degree, I think, was probably about 200 years ago.
But we're here.
Oh, what, could you repeat that?
But we're here.
I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm really glad that you're all here. And I'm excited to see the new names, and I'm excited to see names of students who I know have taken some of my courses before. So thank you for sharing that. Let's go to group 2. And my writing, I am a southpaw. So I'm going to keep practicing names, and I will make sure that I get them. So Marwa, am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, you are.
Awesome. Rajvir or Rajver?
It's a Rajavir.
Rajvir, thank you. I left the I out. Rajvir. Viviana and Yahaira. So who would like to, and Yahaira, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, awesome. All right, so anyone can jump in to share how many similarities you identified and give us a few examples.
We had about
for similarities, we
Mhm.
talked about how we all like spending time with our family, and we like being outdoors in some kind of ways.
Thank you, Viviana. I will tell you that it's really interesting to see the changes that are, I mean, I think they're real fundamental shifts that are going to be with us for a long time. And I think one of those is how many people I see going outdoors and being in nature. Because right, we can have the social distancing. And I mean, that's actually an upside. It's like because I try to get outside every day because otherwise it's not going to be good, right? Staying just in the same place all day, every day. So thank you all. Thank you, Viviana, for sharing that, and you all for engaging in the discussion. So we're going to go to group 5, which is Alma, Ashley, Monica, Stephanie Lopez, and Vanessa.
Okay, so we had 37 similarities.
Okay.
And the two that we chose, we all like spicy food and we all like scary movies.
Oh, wow. So do you all have a particular kind of spicy food? Like, do you have a particular kind of spicy food that you like, Ashley, or is it like any kind of spicy food?
We pretty much like any kind of spicy food that we like.
Okay.
Like we all like the extreme hot Cheetos and stuff like that.
Yes, yep. Yeah. Flaming hot, flaming hot. Thank you for sharing that. I will say that that is the largest number of similarities that I've seen a group have, since I've started doing this, because it depends on how the, discussions go. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to hop back up to group 3. And is it Diana or Diana?
Yeah, it's Diana. You're right.
Diana. Thank you, Diana. So with the Y, so it's Diana, and then D-A-Y, it's also Diana. Or
Diana it's Diana. It's like Diana, just spelled differently.
I love that. Okay, Diana with a Y, Diana with an I, Miriam, Richard, and Sophia.
So we had 23 similarities. We all binge watch Netflix. We were all libs majors. We all want to teach elementary. We all like going outdoors, and we're into fitness. There's a couple others.
Oh, that's great. Oh, wow. All of you all have all a group of you studying to be teachers and all wanting to teach in that same grade level in elementary. Thank you for sharing that. And going to go to group 7, which is Christine, Lisette, Maria, and is it Sukraj? Am I saying that correctly? Who may not still be with us. I'm not sure if he's, oh no.
I believe he left us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lizette.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, anyone can share out from the group and how many similarities and share an example of a few of those.
I only wrote down the number.
Okay, what was the number?
7.
Okay.
And honestly, I forgot.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
I can say them. I remember them.
Okay. Okay.
One of them was that we're all in our 20s, and then the second one was that we all drive.
Okay, that's wow. You're all in your 20s. That's so. Is that okay? Let's see, 20s. So you're actually a Gen Z. Not millennial, but Gen Z. Gen Z is anyone born after 1995. All right, so let's go to, I think let's go to group 1. And it's Bharti, Christian, Destiny, Sergio, and Summer.
Okay, so we got 45 similarities.
Oh, okay.
And a few of them are we like to read, we are introverts, we all lived our whole lives in Cali, we all have a license, spicy food, we have boots, we like to travel, we hate traffic and so on.
Okay, thank you. You all got, I see, like, I love that you have booths. I mean, it's like you can get really specific and detailed. What are some of the places that you like to travel to, Sergio?
I would like to go to Japan, and I'm studying abroad in Spain this summer.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'm hoping that I know that, you know, that's reminding me, what was so difficult in the spring is when we went to remote starting in March of 2020, was
Mhm.
who were on study abroad programs and they had to come back.
Yeah, because I was gonna go last year, but then everything unfolded, so I had to push it to this year.
Okay. I really hope that that comes through this summer.
Me too, because I need it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. And I believe that, well, it actually makes this class is longer. So, I mean, I definitely noticed that having more time makes a difference. It can make a difference in the number of similarities. The last group to go is group 4. It is Anthony or Anthonea? Anthonea. Anthonea, thank you. And is it Baljinder?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Stephanie, Jaime, and Jaime. And Elizabeth, I apologize. And Elizabeth. I have got you, Elizabeth.
Okay, hi. We had a total of 17 similarities, and some of them include that, let's see, none of us have seen Star Wars, and we're all in our early 20s, and COVID threw off our traveling plans, and none of us have kids.
Yeah, hugely. So Elizabeth, I'm curious about, because I had travel plans to see my family again in Tennessee, and it got down to the wire. My aunt is 76. So I canceled my, that was one reason, but I canceled my travel plans for Christmas. And that was really strange because I have always been able to spend Christmas with my family for many, many, many years now. Do you mind sharing like what's maybe a travel plan that you weren't able to do because of COVID?
I was supposed to go to Europe, and just cause, and I couldn't do that. So I already bought the ticket and stuff like that, but got canceled. And then some of us wanted to go to Mexico, but we couldn't. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I know with a lot of the ways the airlines have been doing, they've at least been putting aside the fund, rolling them over as kind of like travel funds that hopefully you would be able to use within a year. Okay, thank you all. So I will, by Friday, I will be entering, and I really love the Blackboard Gradebook. So I will be entering the 5 extra credit points from this activity with Alma, Ashley, Monica, Stephanie Lopez, and Vanessa. And there are several opportunities for extra credit in my course based on engaging in activities outside of the class and our Hollywood Squares Zoom class, because learning absolutely takes place in all contexts in a variety of ways. So there will be additional opportunities coming up very shortly throughout the semester. So I'm going to go back to, whoops, not that, should already be. So we're going to go on to doing a deep dive, an overview of the syllabus. And I am not going to read the syllabus to you verbatim. You will be able to access the syllabus at any point on our Blackboard course shell. in the course introduction and syllabus section. So I will show you where that's located. And I'll be doing a broad overview and also going into specific details as far as the assignments. We've already gone over course attendance and participation. And I'm really excited to share extra credit opportunities, which I will actually share more towards the end of our time together, because it has to do with the logistics. Starting out on Tuesday, a week from today, when we will have the first candidate for one of the 2 ethnic studies professor positions doing their teaching demonstration in our class. And so we'll go from there. So what I'm going to do now is show you, so how I organize, I use Blackboard as the learning management system. I know it gets confusing with the different learning management systems, and then I have the teaching engagement platform. I will tell you that students absolutely love Top Hat. So once next week, when I introduce the first course content and the first assignments in Unit 1, I organize everything by units. And so with the modules, within each module, there's a number of units. So the syllabus is located, again, in the Getting Started section, and you can access it by clicking on the link. And the first detail I want to point out for you is I am someone who communicates consistently in a variety of different ways. If you ever have if you're not sure, like, okay, where's the Zoom link, which I'm going to actually create a folder in Top Hat as well with our class Zoom link, which is the same for the semester. If you're not sure where it is, you can always go to the syllabus and you can access the link here. My office hours are Wednesdays 2 to 3, Thursdays 1 to 2, and by appointment. So what that means, especially in remote in remote office hours, is it's very helpful if you send me an email and let me know if you would like to meet with me for any given Wednesday or Thursday within that time frame. If those times don't work for you, then you can always email me directly here and request, like, can we set up another time in another day? And what I do have is I have a Zoom link for the Wednesday office hours for the entire semester, actually for all of my classes. And I have a Zoom link for the Thursday office hours. So if those times don't work, what I would do is, if you would like to meet with me 2 to 3 or 1 to 2 on those days, I would just, say, oh, you can access the link on the syllabus, or I would just send it to you. If those times don't work for you, I would just, create a new Zoom link for us to be able to meet. This is the link to the Top Hat course shell, which I'm going to go to in a moment. Now, the way that Top Hat is, like I said, you'll get very well acquainted with it, because I actually load all of the PowerPoint presentations into Top Hat because it's so interactive with how I can insert all types of questions, embed all types of video clips in like after slides, all integrated within the PowerPoint presentation, not on it, but literally integrating it in between the different slides. And so the way that this works is, this course is an upper division course. It fulfills 2 requirements. There is a lot of reading in this course. Ethnic studies is actually an interdisciplinary study, a discipline. That means it draws from social science. It draws such as sociology, such as ethnic studies in and of itself. It draws from the arts. It draws from literature. It draws from political. It's literally integrates with everything, because it's this larger, much more critical perspective. And so there are readings from so many different sources that I do not require students to buy any textbooks, because you would have to buy a library in order to really get the full span, of the breadth of ethnic studies, even in one class. So I will actually upload all of the readings again on Blackboard. What I've been doing is I will upload the readings, they're free. as a PDF. And if they format without a lot of it, as long as it's legible and you can read it, I will upload a reading in PDF and Word, so that if you would like to, you can download the reading in Word. You can save your own copy, and you can, it's called annotating the text. You would be able to insert comments. You would be able to highlight, key points. So that really can help with comprehension, right? Internalizing the key concepts from the readings. So the only cost for this course is the $30 subscription to Top Hat. The way that Top Hat works is if there are any other faculty members who are using Top Hat as a teaching engagement platform, you would be able to have set up your student account or enroll, right, in any other course that's using Top Hat with the one subscription. You would not need to get, an individual subscription per class. So right now, what I have done is to show you the formatting. I've created the folder with the course introduction presentation and with the slideshow. So even if we don't get through all of this presentation today, then we will next week. And you will have access to this the entire semester so that you can always revisit it for whatever reason. And then this is how, I create folders per part of the course. And then within those folders are the unit PowerPoint presentations with all of the assignments and the interactive activities. And again, while I have it open like this, you're not going to be able to access it. So I just reassign it. It's awesome. I just go here, I get to assign it as review because there's no graded work in here. And so, yeah, we'll be spending a lot of time in Top Hat as we move forward. So going back to the syllabus, the title of this course, and again, I love to annotate. So the key point is that this is an interdisciplinary and a critical approach. What makes ethnic studies, and of course, ethnic studies is not confined, it's not the only discipline by far that examines political, economic, social, and cultural and institutional forms of power. It's that we do it in particular ways, and we'll get to that in a minute when we get into the creation of the fields. In a nutshell, this course is about looking at the social constructions of race, of ethnicity, of gender identities, of sexual identities, of nationalities, of linguistic diversity, and of notions of able-bodiedness and able-mindedness. And so the course is divided into 3 parts. And I will tell you that I'm going to revisit the course because this was actually created by a faculty member a few years ago. Like I said, the volume of reading is very high. And because it's important to really be able to delve into the reading, to really engage with the key concepts, we most likely won't get through all of the reading, and that's okay. And again, I will have the readings posted on Blackboard by the time that we meet next week. The first assignment, there's no readings. The first assignment is the Meet Your Peers activity. So going from there, these are the goals and the learning goals of the course, which I have highlighted and annotated. What I want to do now is go to the primary assignments. So the main assignments, of course, we went over attendance, participation. And again, I've been taking a lot of courses myself on what online effective teaching looks like. And here's some strategies: alternative forms of assessments or assignments, getting away from the conventional, and it's not bad, it's just getting away from the conventional essays, research papers, exams, to different kinds of assessments. So we're going to get into that in a minute. before we do, I'm going to go over here and see what is going on in terms of questions. And feel free. Okay. So in terms of with the way that Top Hat, so I'm going to go to Top Hat because there's a lot of questions about Top Hat. So what I'm going to do is log out. And then the code is actually on the syllabus. So the way that you're going to, the first step is, and again, this is not an app. I mean, you have an option of actually installing it as an app on your phone, but it's a regular portal, like it's got a URL. And I definitely suggest when you're doing your assignments in Top Hat, I do suggest doing it more so on a laptop or on a larger device. You're actually going to click on this link and it's going to take you directly to our Top Hat course. And so here, you're going to make sure that it's already live. It's actually been created for us and the invitation was sent out. So you're going to enter your Stan State student email. And I actually enter my Stan State password. And I don't think you have to use your student ID in order to enroll in the course. If anyone's already, because I'm not going to pull up like the student records, because that's not, then everyone will see everybody's information. I'm not going to do that. If anyone's already enrolled in our Top Hat course, if in the chat, you could let me know if you need to use your student ID number. I don't think you do. I think that once you use your Stan State student email address and your Stan State password, and then I think that you would be able to, pay, but I haven't joined it as a student.
I'm enrolled in it. It just gave the option if you wanted to put your ID number in, like for grades or anything like that.
Okay. I will tell you right now, I do not need your ID number in Top Hat for grades. I don't primarily use the grade book in Top Hat. I primarily use the grade book in Blackboard. And the actual formal grading system is actually a whole different system. So it's called PeopleSoft. So the grade books, like the grades in no matter where the grades are on these other platforms, I need to see if Canvas speaks to our PeopleSoft system. I don't think it does because of cybersecurity reasons. So we have to manually enter the grades from whatever kind of, that we're using into the formal transcript, like the formal PeopleSoft system for Stan State. So you definitely don't have to worry about anything other than your first and last name. You do not have to enter your student ID for Top Hat. And yeah, when you access that link that I've also, so it's on our syllabus and it's also from the email that I sent out, the very first email, as you can see here, where clicking on that link will also take you to our course, Shell and Top Hat. Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, so yes, I upload recordings of our class sessions on Blackboard. And I'm also going to start using Panopto. I will be uploading the recordings of our class sessions on Panopto, because in preparation for when I transition into Canvas. But they will be and it will be in both locations for this semester. Okay. And if you did not receive the individual email directly from Top Hat to enroll in the course, please email me directly and I will reach out and make sure that they have you. And I think I can actually add you into Top Hat directly myself. So I'm putting my email again in the chat box, even though, you have other ways of accessing it. So yeah, if you did not get, I think 2 weeks ago, if you did not receive, and I know it may be unfortunately, you may not have got it because the email situation is just, it's overwhelming because it's our primary form of communication. So yeah, if you have any issues with logging into Top Hat, please email me directly. And the good thing is the first assignment that's due next Tuesday by 4 p.m. is not in Top Hat. It is going to be important for you to be, enrolled in Top Hat by next week. Okay, any other questions about recordings or Top Hat? Yeah, and at any point, I don't know if you all, I'm going to see if I can show you this. Another way, and I can see, the chat light up. Another way that you can ask questions is to go, I'm going to go here to, so I'm going to go by myself over here. No, where's the raise hands? Maybe not. I know there's a way to do raised hand. Awesome. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you. So it's hard for me to do it when I'm in the PV.
It's under reactions on the bottom next to share screen.
Thank you. So for me, because I'm doing, like you all can see, this bar should be underneath, right? All of the grid of all of the videos because you're not in share screen. So should be able to find reactions. Doesn't look like I can see it here. Yeah, it's easy. I can do reactions when I'm not in doing my share screen. So yeah, it's going to be under the screen and you're going to see a bar very similar to this one. And it's actually going to have reactions. And and I saw that there was someone who did the face when a student said that a group said they'd never seen Star Wars. So that person knows, I think it was Richard, also clearly knows how to use the reactions. So going back to the syllabus, let me see. I'm telling you, it is tricky to be navigating back and forth, but I will see. I'm going to access the syllabus here. So we've got, so I do alternative kind of assessments. Another tip for really effective remote, we're talking about fully remote online learning, is to do kind of short or kind of chunk-sized or bite-sized assignments. The biggest bulk of the work is going to be very consistent. It is going to be the weekly PowerPoint presentation assignments. And I need to change it. It could be like more like 30 to 60 points per week. And what I used to do in prior semesters was do multiple choice reading questions before to what I call it priming the pump, so that you all would have an opportunity to at least, because I know how hard it is to read. I get it. And so it's an opportunity to at least skim the readings before you do a deep dive into the content. What I've done now is I am integrating this right into Top Hat. So before each unit, there's going to be 5 multiple choice reading questions, not a full-blown reading quiz. Used to do 25 multiple choice. No, I'm not doing a full-blown reading quiz. There are reading questions before each unit, as because each unit is going to cover a different reading. There's lots of different kind of video discussion questions. Sometimes I have additional short readings that I will integrate directly into Top Hat, and there will be questions connected to those shorter supplemental readings. There's also discussion questions. So as you can see, with the reading questions, for example, they're multiple choice. They are 2 points each based on accuracy. With discussion questions, these are open-ended. These are based on your own reflections, your own perspectives about whatever the question is and how it relates to the content. There's no right or wrong answers. So these will be assigned participation points. The great thing about Top Hat is you can assign points for accuracy, points for participation, or points that are even a combination of the two. So this is going to be on a weekly basis. And you are going to always have a week. Always have a week to access the reading, answer the reading questions, and then do the additional participation assignments. And this is the bulk. This is the bulk of doing a lot of the work independently. When we're together in class, we're going to be doing much, especially after the course introduction and the teaching demonstration next Tuesday, going to be doing a lot of group activities. You're going to be having an opportunity to introduce, right, some of the most important themes and topics each week, so that will also help prepare you to go through the weekly assignments independently by yourself, or you can get together and work on it together with someone else in the class. It's really up to you. And that's going to be the vast majority of the points in this class are the participation weekly points and the weekly PowerPoint presentation or participation assignments. That's the vast bulk of the points in this class. I'm going to get to the social media posts assignment in a minute. There's only 2 of those, but they're very critical. We are not going to have a final project or I do not do final exams. I do different types of projects. What I learned from last semester is the mid-semester presentations. They actually stretched out beyond the middle of the semester. They were very powerful. They were very impactful. And this is a gradual release model of, it's going to go from me kind of, and I'll still obviously continue to provide the overviews for each unit. And then you're going to be learning a lot more from one another through these mid-semester presentations. We are very fortunate because Ethnic Studies hosts a series of events every year. In the spring, Ethnic Studies hosts a film festival. And what's really great is before COVID, the films were scheduled to correspond with the times when the classes that meet for 2 hours, more than 2 hours. And so our class would go to watch the films. This year, on May 11th, which is the week of the Ethnic Studies Film Festival, we're going to have the opportunity to actually watch the film in our class. And hopefully we will have time to do a closing activity. In terms of the mid-semester presentation, I will also be posting detailed instructions about formatting. I will also post examples of other classes where students have done these presentations so you can see what it looks like. And you can do this individually, you can do this with a partner, or you can do this with a group. And these are the primary, and again, it's visual in terms of the presentation format. There's not going to be an essay, right, assigned to this. It's going to be the format of the PowerPoint presentation and the slides themselves. And then a part of it is going to be a sharing out with the class. So it's going to be both. These are the questions that you're going to be speaking to. And and again, as we get closer, and I will say after we have the candidate come in and do the teaching demonstration next week, the week of February 16th, I'm going to have those student examples so you can see exactly what this looks like. And this is going to be 60 points. As I said, there are many opportunities for extra credit because learning is not just confined to formal schooling or formal education contexts. And first and foremost is events. So first of all, I want to let community events, because of Zoom, they can be events that are international. They can be events that are national. They can be community-based events in any of the organizations or that you're involved in on campus or in the community. As long as it's somewhat, which everything is pretty much connects to this course. And so there's 3 different ways that you can earn extra credit. The first is that any event that you attend, you write up a short, and I will actually have instructions for how to write up the extra credit reflection essay. You write up a reflection essay speaking about your experience at the event and how you think it connects to the course, like 1 or 2 ways that it connects to the course content. Those are up to 5 points extra credit each. If you volunteer at events, you automatically earn 10 points. There's no, because this is about engagement. This is about community building. And these types of events are huge for raising the education and the critical awareness and creating a space where these are very powerful events that really do build community, not only on campus, but beyond our campus. So if you volunteer at any of these, such as the 3rd annual Black Power Matters that's coming up, you would earn an automatic 10 points extra credit. The 3rd way is if you participate in an event, automatic 15 points extra credit. And I will tell you that I have been doing this for years, and I can count usually on one hand each semester how many students, because I get it, right? I mean, that's a level of engagement and commitment, and it's a lot. The events that are the extra credit events, and there's more, and I will be posting. I post all the time. I post events on the announcement section of our Blackboard course shell. I send them out to everyone as emails. And if you know of any events that are happening, again, please email me directly and share that with me. And also feel free, to share out any events when we're in class together. These are all going to be eligible for extra credit. It really enriches the learning. And these events really give us the opportunity to apply what we're learning in the course. This demonstrates that. That demonstrates, okay, so that's why I have a generous extra credit policy. So what I'm going to do, and what I want to show you just in terms of formatting is, so I have the longer descriptions, and then I will have additional instructions for, obviously in Top Hat every week, you'll see the instructions, right, with the assignments themselves. And I'm also going to add instructions for the mid-semester presentations, for the extra credit reflection essays. And in addition to a full-scale calendar, week by week by week, that's organized according to the section of the course. If you want a quick and dirty calendar, here it is. The dates due, the types of, right, kind of assignments or assessments and participation, and how much they're worth. There is going to be a range. Top Hat is tricky. The biggest thing I want to fine tune is get better about pinpointing. But there is a range in how many points you're going to be earning every week. That's why, because this is really the foundation of our course. These weekly assignments in Top Hat with the readings that are associated with each unit that is connected directly with the readings and the reading multiple choice questions. We're going to get to the Facebook, social media. There's only 2 of them, but again, there's really critical, and I'm thinking about ways of expanding this. But again, anytime you want to do a quick, and I will tell you right now, I send out announcements every week when deadlines are coming up. I allot time in class. For example, there's going to be time in class where you all are going to be able to do work on the mid-semester present. You're going to be able to figure out if you want to do individual, if you want to do pair, if you want to do group, right? We're going to do a deep dive into the mid-semester presentations. Does anyone have any questions about this so far before I have you get an opportunity to do a small group participation activity that is an actual document? And this is what we're going to be doing every week. Not for points today, but this is an example of what we're going to be doing every week. I will go to the chat. So yeah, so with Top Hat, again, there's nothing, the only thing that's going to be assigned is not homework. It's not graded. It is going to be the PowerPoint that we're going over right now. And what happens is, as long as I have it open, you're not going to be able to access it because I have to reassign it once I get out of it. That's one of the little quirks about it that it's interesting because it's like you know, you can't really go have it and go through it on your own as long as I, as the instructor, have it open. I'll reassign it once we're done today and you'll be able to see that it'll pop up. The PowerPoint presentation from today will pop back up in Top Hat. So, and I haven't uploaded any assignments there yet because the first assignment is actually not going to be in Top Hat. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go through an exercise. And again, starting out, these are the types of participation activities that we're going to be doing together. I am going to copy and paste this link in the chat in just a minute. A core component of this course is critical social media literacy. So I want us to really think about this with no shame at all, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm on social media all the time. I'm subscribed to a lot. I get a lot of different kinds. I access a lot of different kinds of information and media sources. I'm on it all the time. And I'm able to vet a lot of the content and a lot of the information because of my research, because of my background knowledge. So part of the impact and the power, especially with the huge role that social media plays in everyone's lives, is that as you take these courses, all of your courses, as you engage in research, as you engage in any kind of service learning or practice, you're building up your knowledge base, you're building up your ability to critically think so that you can really be a much more intentional, informed consumer. I don't like the word consumer, but I'll say consumer of social media. So before I get into that part of the syllabus in terms of our social media assignments that you're going to be doing, what I'm going to have you do is go into breakout rooms again. They're going to be different. And I think I already have this accessible. So I will go over the instructions before I have you go into breakout rooms. But first, I'm going to copy the link and share it in the chat. And I'm going to do that now. So this is the link to the critical social media literacy doc. I encourage everyone to click on this link right now so that you will be able to access it when you go into the breakout rooms. And let me see. Okay, I'm just getting us to the share. Okay, there we go. So here is the doc. So as you can see, this is a Google slide. I love Google Slide docs. So we're literally creating, right? We're creating the work in real time, and you're going to be doing that with one another. And this is the setup to really get at why I have increasingly started integrating social media assignments in my classes. And I'm sure that I'm not the only faculty member who does that. And it's really about understanding. We talk about a lot of current events in this class. And I am a historian. And my grandfather was actually a Civil War buff. Both of my grandparents on my mother's side are from Virginia. generations, right, dating back. The capital of the Confederacy in the Civil War was in Richmond, Virginia. What happened at the White House on January 6th was the closest that we've gotten to a civil war since the original Civil War. And a lot of it has to do with misinformation. A lot of it has to do with groups on social media. We know that there's a lot of pushback around changing policies, right? Around what kind of, and it gets real slippery, right? It's real blurry. What about the First Amendment? What about freedom of speech? So as an educator, I have, and as future educators and current and future parents, uncles, what mentors, coaches, we have an opportunity here to lean into this by really setting up people to be much more effective. And part of that is education. Part of it is building up background knowledge. And that's what really ethnic studies is about. It's about correcting all of the huge omissions, right? Not only in the historic record, but in the current record when it comes to every aspect of education and of life. And we're talking about primarily in a US context. So what you're going to be doing is, and you again, you should have access to this. You're going to be assigned to breakout groups, and in each group, you're going to have what's called a T-chart. A T-chart is just basically a table with 2 columns. And the first part of the T-chart is identifying the specific social media platforms and podcasts that you access. Really getting into understanding, and we know this, right? People have a lot of different opinions about social media. And I think when I pause and I think about how much information I'm accessing, it's like, what, as a scholar, right? As a researcher, I'm like, it's very sobering. So the first column, you're going to be, as a group, sharing out what are the social media platforms that you're on, that you access in any way. And then in the second column, you're going to be identifying all of the different types of information that you access on social media. So I suggest that, and again, it could be more than one person, it could be one person who's assigned to entering the information directly in the T-chart, in the table. And then making sure that you have one person, because when you finish this, we're going to come back together and we're actually going to go through the slideshow. And for each group, there's going to be one person who's going to just summarize and just think about, summarize what you discuss, what you explore. This is a question, right? It's an inquiry. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to really think through, like, how much social media do we really engage with? How much of our information comes from social media? A lot, I'm telling you, even though I continue to do research, I continue to read, a lot. Does anyone have any questions about this before? And how this is going to work is each slide is the same and it's labeled according to the breakout room. So breakout room 1 is breakout group 1. Breakout group 2 is breakout room 2. Breakout room 3 is breakout group 3. And there's going to be a total of, I believe, 6 breakout groups aligned to 6 breakout rooms. Does anyone have any questions? And I'm going to give you time to do this. It's 6:14. I am going to give you until 6:30. And then today we're going to wrap up with going through the slideshow that you create collectively and collaboratively. And then I'm going to wrap up with the final kind of assessment, which is the social media assessment. And I will continue to the social media, the critical social media literacy assignments. There's just 2 of them, and it's actually really powerful. I'll show you an example of what that looks like when I go through the logistics of what it is after we go through this presentation. Does anyone have any questions before I assign you to the breakout rooms? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna have, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna keep you in the same breakout rooms that you were in before. Let me make sure, except, oh, we gotta have 6. There were 7. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just going to quickly add a breakout group 7 slide at the end of the document so that group 7 will be able to access that document. And I'm gonna go ahead and open all of the rooms down.
Hello, Mary. I wasn't here for the beginning of class, so I wasn't in a breakout room in the beginning.
Well, thank you for letting me know, Alyssa. I will, let me see. I'm gonna assign you, where is, can't join that. Let me see. It's probably got, okay. I'm gonna assign you to group 2.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Alyssa.
Sorry, I was just speaking to you, but I didn't have my mic on.
Oh, that's okay.
My screen looks different. I can't see anyone, but I can see that they're working in there, and I can't hear anyone either. I took a screenshot. Can I just share my screen right now with you so you can see what I'm seeing?
Yes, let me see that. There's something. Yeah, I'll look at your, see what you're seeing.
It says host disabled participant screen.
Okay, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to give you, let me see. I'm going to give you co-hosting. Okay, there you are. I've made you a oh wait. Yeah, I made you a co-host, so now you can share your screen with me.
Okay, could you see this?
Oh, wow.
And I have no idea what that is. When I was put into the group, this is exactly what I saw. And when I left that group and came back to the main screen, this is what I saw in the beginning, but I can see your video now. I just don't know what was happening. And I could see talking up here, but I couldn't hear anyone either.
Oh, this is so strange. And I've been actually having issues like this when I've been going to meetings, and I noticed that it's more recent.
So have you seen a screen just like this?
I've actually seen this
Okay.
in meetings, and I don't know. I'm gonna try to see if I can put you in another breakout room, and then you get the same image, then you can exit out of it. Because yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna need to follow up on how to deal with this, because I know this has happened to me in meetings. Let me see.
And there wasn't anything for me to be able to click on to kind of join their group.
Right. Well, what we can do is, I mean, we can just we can have the discussion ourselves. I definitely, I mean, obviously it's for you to connect with your peers. If this pops up again, you can come back, and then we can just do a discussion between the two of us.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna try group 3. Is it not? Do you see a message, Alyssa, asking you to join breakout room 5?
No.
This is so strange. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna do my share screen, and we don't need to type, but it's like I do like to see. Actually, we're gonna be in. Well, actually, we can. Yeah, actually, no, I'm not gonna do my share screen because it's just gonna be looking at what someone else is doing. So yeah, when I started integrating, because I actually teach critical media literacy as well, and it really has to do with the historic and current context, especially around pop culture of all types of media. So like before, it was like silent films evolving to movies, videos. It could be magazines. It could be, so there's like, we've always had media. Even, the original media is the paintings on the cave walls that are thousands of years old. And at this point, I really think that this is a historic time, because social media, there's such an overwhelming proliferation of images, of sources, of information. And I mean, I don't know anyone who's not engaged with social media, regardless of age, right? Regardless of background, to a very, very large degree. So I've started integrating critical social media literacy starting this past summer. So, and I'm an 80s kid, like I'm not, but like there's just so many different, like I've been on Facebook for a while. I go back and forth on staying on it. My mom actually got me into it, and I continue to stay on it, especially because once they bought Instagram, and so you can do the simultaneous posting. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I'm not really on Twitter that much, because what I realized about myself is that I love vlogging. I love content creators. and the content creators on YouTube, because, or like TikTok, even though I'm not on TikTok, because it's something about the combination of the audio and the visual that really hooks me. It's, and just listening to a podcast, like it's not the same. So I'm not on a lot of podcasts. And I mean, I access a lot of other sources that are basically all online. But yeah, out of curiosity, like what are some social media sites that are kind of like your go-to social media sites?
So I think we have that in common where the visual and the audio just connects with us better. I have a Twitter account, but I follow hardly any people that I know. Mostly it's just, famous people. And I think maybe I got it in high school because it was the new thing, but I never really got into using it. So I think my go-tos are Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're pretty unusual in that way, because I know there's so many that kind of come and go. Like I do actually remember MySpace. I never really got into it. I remember Friendster. Friendster was the precursor to Facebook.
I think Facebook or MySpace was my first social media. So was Friendster between MySpace and Facebook?
And so, but it's like the ones that have stuck around. So it's like, what I will say is, and part of it is there's certain even media outlets that are, like, for example, I follow Democracy Now! And they are on radio, they were on TV, and now they post the clips from TV, usually on some kind of public station outlet, onto YouTube. So I mean, part of the reason is like it's a one-stop shop. You can access a lot of different kinds of sources. What I have been, and I spend a lot, increasing amounts of time with listening to vloggers. So again, I really trust, because I vet, I vet the content, I vet their perspective. And if they're sharing information about a current event that's really interesting, I'll go and I'll do independent research on it. Having said that, I mean, unless I'm actually doing active research to write up a publication, I'm still, and this is not even including accessing academic, readings, because you can access a lot of this stuff online. I mean, every day I'm spending a lot of time on social media. I'm getting a lot of information from social media. So I would say for you, how much, if you were like to compare how much information you're getting, especially like as a student, from doing like readings for class, readings for like research purposes, how would you compare the amount of information you're accessing from social media versus like other kinds of sources?
Well, I think almost everything that we use our electronics for is social media, other than text, because maybe we would consider email as media, and it's to many people, so maybe we would consider that social media as well. And really, I would hardly ever read for fun. Sometimes I'll come across a book that I'd like to read, and usually it's not, it's like leisurely reading. So it's not for facts or information. So I would say almost all of my information other than my school education comes from social media.
Yeah. I do read for pleasure, but yeah, like it, especially including emails, and a lot of it it gets tricky because a lot of information, like I remember when, instead of being able to go to our university portal, I would go to a library and I was going to card catalogs, and I was using the Dewey Decimal Card system and looking up hard copy books that way, and then going and finding them in the stacks. And so I know that it's more, it's not as like I'm kind of oversimplifying it somewhat. And at the same time, it's like so many of us have shifted to this. So this is what we're gonna, I'm gonna, see what the groups came up with. But that's basically this exercise. And especially with the proliferation of conspiracy theories, as well as just flat out misinformation. That part is a lot, like social media is introducing the reach of it is just unprecedented. And so I was just going over the activity with Alyssa ourselves with the 2 questions. And so what we're going to do is go and hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to designate at least one spokesperson for your group to just kind of summarize what you share. And obviously we're going to be able to see it because we're going to go to the slideshow now. And I've got I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and, I can go back and forth between, sorry about this, present. So the first group, we're going to go in chronological sequential order here. And like even my ideas about social media, I'm sure it's more expansive than the examples that I included. So we're going to go ahead and start with, well, this is actually group 7. So we'll go backwards. We'll start with group 7. Carolyn, Christine, Lizette, Maria, and Sukraj. Who would like to just summarize what you have here?
So here we have some of the social medias that we use frequently. I use all of these but Twitch. I didn't know about Twitch. I just found out about it. I guess it's a platform where YouTubers go to kind of talk about things that would be copyrighted and that you can't talk about on YouTube. So they talk about it on Twitch. Yelp, I use whenever I'm in a different city that and I'm looking for like a place to eat or a place to stay or a place to go. I'll kind of just go to Yelp and it'll show me pictures, reviews, how many stars, how pricey it is. So it's pretty useful. TikTok is for like entertainment and education, a bunch of stuff. So is YouTube, kind of like the same thing. Instagram and Snapchat, you can kind of do that as well. Like with posts and stories, things like that. Also Twitter, it's just like political, but it's like, and it like makes fun of real world situations, which is funny. Like it makes light of the bad stuff. And then Facebook is for like family updates and like community. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And so it's, and here's what the thing about it, to me, there's so many different forms of social media. It's like, to me, it's like electricity. Electricity was invented. We didn't always have it. And it's this kind of neutral force and source of energy. And it's all about how we use it. So this is really, I really appreciate this because it's showing just the whole range of how social media is used in all sorts of ways that are really critical, that really enhances connection in a lot of ways. Did you all get an opportunity to talk about maybe it wasn't a surprise at all, but the amount of time, when I think about emails. Email is a form of social media. Alyssa pointed that out, and that was really important. And so if I think about how much I'm on email with my work account, and then I have 2 non-work,
I know sometimes my like screen reports will come in for like 5 hours a day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like that is so bad. I feel terrible when I get those notifications.
I know. I mean, I think it's the norm. And I think that you're not on your own with that. And I absolutely know that because of COVID and having everything go remote, like the email situation is exponentially increased. I mean, it's like the primary form of communication at this point, whereas it was not. I mean, all of those little times taking for granted, just going to meetings, going from class, talking to students before class, talking to students after class, literally everything that we do in terms of communication, it's not in passing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I definitely, I definitely don't think it's unusual to be getting those kind of reports, and mine would probably be more than 5 hours, quite honestly. So you're welcome. We're going to jump up to group 1. Really similar. So group 1, if you could just like share out a little bit, and I'd be curious as to, and I think it's interesting because like, so I'm going to have a question after this that I came up with me when I was talking with Alyssa. So anyone from group 1 can share out, so kind of summarize your conversation.
All right. So for Twitter, some of us use it for our political news and for entertainment. For Facebook, it's about the same, but some of us use it for more local news, like in their city. For Instagram, usually like celebrity gossip. And for Reddit, it's entertainment. Snapchat, celebrity gossip, entertainment, but it's also I also use it for my news. And then for YouTube, it's entertainment and broad information. So it could be political, it could be how to build something. It's just any type of information you want in the form of video. And TikTok, it's entertainment, celebrity gossip, and use it for broad information to like life hacks, it's simple things like that. And then Twitch is for entertainment, more specifically like gaming, and Pinterest is hobbies and craft.
Yeah, and I forgot about Pinterest. I do. Yeah. So I have a question, and this could apply to you, or if this even came up in your conversation. You see any, like, when you see any kind of information, this kind of information from the different platforms, do you ever like kind of go and look up more about a particular topic that catches your interest, or is it you kind of primarily stick to the information that's shared on the different platforms?
For me personally, I use Snapchat and YouTube. Like those are the only 2 medias I use for the most part. And they usually both have the same information. But if I want to keep looking more into what they're saying, then I do go online and just do a quick little review of articles and stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, this is great. I forgot. Yeah, I definitely access Pinterest. And then there's there's always like new platforms being created. So I know there's like Clubhouse where people can kind of go, and it's in almost how it, like whatever the initial intent of it is and what it actually ends up looking like in practice also can be very interesting. Okay, let's go on to group 2. And I forgot about Tumblr. I've never heard of Discord, so I'm learning about the different platforms as well. And group 2 was Marwa, Rajveer, Viviana, and Yahida. So any one of you can kind of share out what you, like summarize what you discussed.
So for Instagram, we have like basically where we keep up with friends, celebrity gossip, like vlogs. With Snapchat, we connect with family and friends, and sometimes like you don't connect them, but like you can see celeb Snapchat and everything. And then Twitter is where you pretty much get any type of news. And then as well as celebrity gossip. Facebook is like pretty much like a local, where we get our local news and keep it with our family. YouTube is entertainment, where you can watch any type of videos with like DIYs, cooking. Pinterest, where we could DIY as well, get inspirations for fashion, decorations, and lesson plans. TikTok for music, entertainment, local, well, not local, but like political news, and like learn about cooking. And Tumblr is similar to Instagram, where you could like have friends, celebrity gossip, and all that. And then Discord, I don't use it, but my sister uses it a lot, where she like chats with other people, and she uses it for games, and you can use it for like stocks and everything.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. So, and you know, in this, looking at what you all discussed, and like in particular the farmers' protest in India, like all of these different social media sites have also been used in all types of organizing, movement organizing. So whether like TikTok has become really kind of notorious for this, where TikTokers get on and they will go and they'll overwhelm like phone lines and do kind of pranks, or actually very political in nature. And I think even with like organizing in terms of the, I mean, it was an insurrection on January 6th, and it wasn't just at the US Capitol. It was also at different state capitals around the country, including in California, including in Georgia. All of that was organized on social media. And social media has been used. Facebook is also, I mean, it's been used like this for years now. So I definitely appreciate you for this, including, and especially with like, and because there's so much news and commentary in a lot of different ways, whether it's, you know, like fun and kind of tongue in cheek, which is really important to infuse some levity, right? To have a sense of humor in the midst of everything as well. So that was a really powerful reminder of how social media is used for a lot of different kinds of organizing. So I want to go and see. Yes, flat Earth. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to thank you for bringing this up. I'm just going to say this. I had a friend who's a colleague, not here in Arizona, and it was not, he went down the flat Earth rabbit hole for a little while. And I actually went to YouTube to see the video. Like, I was like, it's very interesting. Like we said, any and everything. Yeah, thank you, Richard, and storming Area 51. And again, social media has been used for organizing for years now. And so this is a great reminder of that. Thank you for sharing that. So we're going to go, to group 3. Got another one. It's like, yeah, I'm not as, so every now and then I end up on Reddit. It's really interesting, some of the commentary. And so anyone from group 3 can share out Diana with the Y, Diana with the I, Miriam, Richard, or Sophia.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share.
Thank you.
So we have Facebook, again, for memes, marketplace, social networking, family, trend updates. We have Instagram, social networking, current world events, Snapchat for entertainment, TikTok is a big one, comedy, current events, podcasts, information, entertainment, opinions, Twitter, gossip information, Reddit, which I actually had not heard of Reddit before.
Oh, okay.
So how to take on Wall Street, general information. Okay. Let me see, what else do we have? What was that one? Is it? And then YouTube, of course.
Yeah. I think this is, so I'm really curious. Okay, I think I know what the person what they're talking about with Reddit. I know that, I don't know how many of you have been, have heard about what's happening with GameStop in the stock market. and how a collective of all of these small investors really drove the, I believe this is the GameStop stock way up, even though I guess it had been downgraded. And now how Congress is looking at changing, I'm like, well, they didn't, why? Changing some of, I don't know, like changing policies around how people were able to invest in stocks. And I'm like, I mean, you had a collection of a lot of different small investors versus huge conglomerates like multinational corporations, so it's really, and so I don't know if Reddit was kind of a site that was, because I think that probably entailed some organizing on social media as well, or maybe Reddit more generally is a site that really kind of addresses how to take on Wall Street. I don't know if it's specific to GameStop or not.
It was a large group on Reddit called Wall Street Bets, and they organized to squeeze a stock that normally makes billionaires money.
Exactly.
And cost them a bunch.
So this is something that Reddit does, and then would you think, do you think GameStop is an example of that, or is an example of a group of small investors supporting a company that they really wanted to support, that they really like?
I mean, people say it's kind of like a nostalgic stock, but
Yeah,
really
yeah.
it's worthless, and it doesn't represent, their like business status, like current status. So they just drove the stock price up with interest, like people interested in the stock, a bunch of people buying it.
Right. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, so as we can see, like for me, this is really eye-opening to learn from you all, because the ways of engaging in social media are almost limitless. And they run the gamut from these really interesting kinds of ways of actually taking on, right, these overwhelmingly large institutions, powerful institutions, in a way that would have been very, very, and which has happened over time, which we get into in this course. It's just what that looks like in the 21st century, being able to access these kinds of platforms. It's really fascinating. So we'll be getting more into that over the course of the semester. Group 4. Oh, I was thinking about Spotify when I was looking at another. Yeah, so yeah. And group 4 is Antonia, Baljinder, Elizabeth, Stephanie, and Jaime. Kind of summarize your discussion.
Okay. So for Instagram, I guess we pretty much talked about the national and international news. So we follow certain, I guess, local and international. And then I guess it's also been a place to share like certain laws, I guess, which was pretty common during the protests. A lot of people were letting others know about their rights as protesters, stuff like that. And then Snapchat is, I guess, for news, but like bite-sized versions of it. And then so like entertainment and celebrity gossip. TikTok was mainly for entertainment, but sometimes there are like smaller content creators that spread news.
Okay.
And then YouTube was, we went into news like TED Talks, certain life profiles like that are by Vice or stuff like that.
Yes,
And
yeah, I watch a lot of Vice. Yeah.
yeah. And just different kinds of videos relating to big topics, whether it's surrounding religious studies, education, or entertainment. Spotify, I guess, is where most of us get our music and podcasts relating to a broad range of topics. And I guess NPR follows under that. And then Twitter is for entertainment and celebrity gossip, but it's also where we found to see underreported events like stuff at the protest, or whether it be the Muslim camps in China, stuff like that. So typically that mainstream news doesn't catch up on.
Right. That, I mean, thank you so much. And what I'm really getting after listening to, I think we maybe have maybe two more groups, I realized that critical social media literacy is integrated into my courses far more than the Facebook groups that I've started creating, because a lot of the multimedia, the source that I integrate are from YouTube, right? It's like, and it's how I vet and how I go through the information. And also the way that we're going to be using Facebook is going to be very similar in terms of the kind of posts. I mean, they're going to be specific kinds of posts, not so much on pop culture, but more events, and also on articles that are also historically and currently based. And so they're very educational and they're very research based, and it's done in a format that's, it's not the kind of traditional accessing in a book format. So this is really, really impactful and helpful, because I realized that critical social media literacy is a foundation. It's a cornerstone of my teaching. So thank you for sharing that. And we're going to go. This is like what my conversation looks like, except I would not have included Snapchat. Well, maybe like YouTube in place of Snapchat. So yeah, group 6, which was Lupe, Gurdit, Natalie, and Selena.
For our group, we kind of, because some of us don't really use a lot of social media, so we kind of just wrote the social medias we had in common or we have had in the past. So, and then when we listed the stuff, we didn't really think about like listing them like what each section, so we just kind of like list them in order. So like some of them don't really match. But I would say we don't really rely for social media like for news, because we know there's a lot of like fake news out there, and like it's not like a reliable source. We could see some stuff like on Twitter or Facebook. You could see like more like local news or like bigger news, like more like world events type of stuff. And then like Snapchat, Facebook, and like Instagram is more for like entertainment and like to keep up with like our family or friends.
Thank you. And so I want to hone in on what you're saying, because it's one of the core purposes of why I have integrated. And again, it's not a major, but specifically a Facebook social media assignment component to the course is to start learning how to be able to vet the information that we're getting, and how to actually look into it and research it and to see how reliable it is. And so that's what actually generates a lot of my research. I will say, and actually, and my last publication, that it's an academic publication, was on a methodology called netnography. So it's actually, in my case, a social scientific research on, and it was a particular focus, but we're looking at the activities that are going on the internet and on social media platforms. And we're forming a research question around that really has to do, and then we're examining it. And so there's definitely ways to engage with multiple sources of information in a way that we can really start to just like be able to determine and really be able to engage in critical thinking and critical investigation of it. So that's a really important point that you just made. Okay, and I think we have one group left, and that is group 5. So you can go ahead and share out, and then we'll segue right into the social media assignments that you will have for this semester. And that was Alma, Ashley, Monica, Stephanie Lopez, and Vanessa.
So what we did, we all had a lot of these in common. So Instagram, like it depends what your Instagram feed looks like, because it depends what you search up, what you follow. And so it's different for everybody. So that's kind of what we did. So like some we had like dogs, makeup, celebrities, family news, daily life hacks, anything related. to what you interact with on this app, even like influencers and things like that. Snapchat, what your friends are doing. YouTube, world news, celebrity gossip, music, blogs. Facebook, family news, funny content, videos, memes, etc. And then political content. Twitter, political news, funny content, memes, celebrity news. Pinterest, like gluten-free, healthy meals, room decor, decorating ideas or tattoo ideas. And then TikTok, entertainment, DIYs, information, life hacks, recipes. And then Spotify, which is for music and podcasts that educate on important figures and teach motivational, inspirational quotes.
Thank you. And what I'm going to hone in on, it's a great way to wrap up this presentation. Algorithms, algorithms, algorithms. Does everyone understand how algorithms work on social media? I mean, that's the thing. It becomes like an echo chamber. It becomes like a kind of a snowball effect. So whatever it is that we're choosing, we're going to get more of the same. So think about this in a more structural, in a more macro level way. The way that social media is able to be set up, especially around algorithms, how much does that, or do you think it may exacerbate misinformation, conspiracy theories, like flat Earth? It's okay. It's like zero gravity. The Earth, we got the gravitational force. So again, thinking about this in more macro structural ways versus as primarily thinking of it as kind of individualizing. As an educator, I think about what has happened, especially to K through 12 schooling, once we have the onset of the age of high stakes standardized testing and what that has done to critical thinking, right? What has that done to really the kind of pressure that's imposed on educators and administrators in school districts, and funding is tied to the outcomes on tests. And so what does that do to non-tested subjects? If it's a non-tested subject, right? So it's these kind of, we're going to be doing a lot of that in this course. So thank you all for sharing that. This has really given me a lot of fodder for thought. And so to wrap up today, I'm going to go back to the syllabus to do a little bit. So in terms of the critical social media literacy, this is what the social media assignments are about. And what I have been doing each semester, and I'm relieved to see, and I know with Facebook, I know that a lot of people have discontinued. It's really tricky with some of the platforms. And I really do, even if it's to create an account just to be able to access our private class Facebook group that I'm going to create. The good thing is you don't need to actually send a friend request directly to me. What I'm going to do once I create the private Facebook group is send the link direct so that you can access that link directly. So you can simply request to join the group. And twice in the semester, we're going to really get into how do we, looking at becoming more critical engagers with purveyors of social media and how we engage with it. And building on what I'm sure, I believe that you already probably do engage with it critically, and tying it to the course. So you're going to be doing a main response, and that is really just going to consist of a short paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences. And I'm going to show you what this looks like in a minute before we leave. Describing how the post demonstrates at least 2 concepts, terms, theories, and/or topics. This is why we're not going to, the first one is not due until the end of March. The second one is not due until the end of April, because this is about building up the background knowledge that's specific to this course, and then applying that within a critical social media context. So that's going to be the main part of the post, and that is going to be worth 10 points. This is also an opportunity for you all to engage with each, because let me tell you something. I am always in a comment section. A lot of times I may be entering something in a comment section. I've got some emails waiting for me where somebody replied to a comment I made like a year ago. I love the comment section. As an anthropologist, as a social scientist, it's like people watching online. It's not the pictures for me so much, it's the comment section. So social media is a place where a lot of engagement happens. And it's very helpful to also, we can always get practice on how to engage in ways that are respectful, that where we can agree, we can disagree. It's about the respectfulness of the interaction, and it's about the respectfulness of the interaction. And so you will, for each of the 2 times that you do this assignment, 1 main response, 2 peer comments. Peer comments where you're engaging with the main response of 2 other people in the class. And each of the peer comments is worth 2.5 points. So, and again, I will be posting and sending out plenty of announcements before we get to this point, as well as it's in our syllabus, and I'll show you where it's located in the syllabus. So as you can hear, oh, actually it's like mid-March. So the first social media assignment is due March 16th. And I will have I'm going to create the Facebook group like next week and start adding posts. I also want to integrate a component where you can add posts. Like you all are more fluent in probably, than I am. And so this is an opportunity to not only practice critical social media literacy in terms of engaging with each other and based on the posts that I add, but also in you finding the posts. Now, this is where you're getting into critical content creation. That's what it is. So the first one of these assignments is due March 16th, and the second is due the week after we get back from spring break. Spring break is late this year, or the week or 2 weeks after, no, the week after we get back. We get back from spring break on April 13th, and then we don't have class that April 6th. And so I want to show you just quickly how you can access, so here, I want to make sure that I'm, that it's like in the syllabus itself, that I'm really giving you a heads up. So like week 7, March 9th, it's like the assignment, if it's the social media assignment, the first one due the following week on March 16th. So it's definitely integrated into the syllabus. And I communicate a lot when it comes to these assignments. The last thing I want to show you before we check out today is what this looks like. So I'm going to go to my groups. Of course, I have to create them. And I'm actually going to go to the fall, this class in the fall, same section. I like to do graphics. Again, 75% of this course is based within the US. 25% is a global context. So we will be doing some cross-cultural analysis of constructions of race and ethnicity primarily, but it does have a US focus. So I really liked this background. I mean, it would actually be really fun to find backgrounds, but so these are in intersectionality is a key core concept that we're going to be covering. So these are the kind of posts that I include on, and as you can see, so the way that you label it, the student makes sure that she has her name, she labels it main response, and she actually put the date, which was October. And it's really easy to do it one or by date because one's going to be March, one's going to be April. And as you can, and there's also this is what the peer comments look like. And I'm literally able to go through and I'm literally just have like a grading roster where I can, and I love like reading the comments and making sure I'm checking off and, where they fit in the 2 times that you'll be doing this assignment. And I continuously add content and updated current events. A lot of this is also current events. It's political. It's also ethnic studies. It's a field created out of social justice activism. And so definitely lots of information. And there are all kinds of social movements. The social movements run the spectrum. So from conservative to right, that's still like what happened on January 6th. That's a huge social movement that's happening. So we have these that's been happening. So we have these highly polarized social movements that are happening. It's not social justice. We'll unpack that more. So this is ethnic studies. This is about looking at social justice movements. And so those are the kind of posts that I post. It's about power. So we look at, for example, intersectionality, and that's what's called the system of interlocking oppression. So when we look at intersections of race, when we look at intersections of gender identities, when we look at plus the intersection of socioeconomic status, we'll unpack some of these statistics. For example, transgender women in the US, and not just in the US, all over the world, have incredibly short lifespans because it's a form of genocide. So we'll get into that, looking at intersectionality. So as you can see, the main responses, the peer comments, and again, some of it is historically based, depending on what I find, to augment and supplement what we're learning in the course. Lots of COVID-19. And again, I really encourage you to also send me or add posts, as yourself as well as we get moving. And we don't start until the March, right? So that we have time to build up the background, your background knowledge, because it's specific to this course. So, and we'll talk more about this as we get closer to the first posting, the first time when the first assignment is due. So I have already reassigned the course introduction PowerPoint, even though we're going to finish up with it within the next couple of class sessions. So you should be able to access it in Top Hat now. If you're not able to, please email me directly. And I am very excited because ethnic studies is an academic discipline created by students. It is the only one created by students. I'm really excited that we're going to be hosting one of the candidates and that you are going to weigh in on selecting the next ethnic studies faculty members that we get here at Stan State. So you're going to be playing an integral role in building the program here. Thank you. I did not anticipate being here this long today, but like I said, I knew it was going to kind of run pretty long. So I am really looking forward to what you all, to finishing up your peers assignment and to whatever you come up with for the playlist. And I will see you next Tuesday at 4:30.